Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and today I'm going to make a gym for all our lovely gym equipment. Now if you remember last time when we made all this equipment, I was very keen to have a gym that would allow it to all be seen very clearly, because there's some really good fun scenes going on and a lot of interesting equipment, and to have it all sort of enclosed in a normal 4 solid walls building would be a real crying shame, because we wouldn't be able to see it, just like the casino on top of my Grand Emporium. So I'm very keen to have something that is either open fronted or very transparent in order to show this stuff off. I also don't want to have to sort of peer into a building from a very low angle to see what's going on. I'd much rather this had a high roof with a very high glass front, and if the whole building was elevated in some way so it could be seen from all angles all around the city, then all the better. So I thought what I might do is have an ultra modern building with glass panels on the front, so I could use these 1x6x5 trans-clear panels stacked on top of each other like this, and a modern building could have a whole wall of these side by side, and that's pretty much in keeping with a lot of the gyms that I've seen that do have very large open glass panels so the people doing their workout can enjoy the view. But I thought not only would I have a very tall glass fronted building, but I could also have it on stilts. Now if you look at these pictures that I found on the internet, you'll see the same sort of building I'm talking about, which is essentially a box with glass walls on stilts. And that fulfills all of my brief. It's very high up because it's on stilts. It's very transparent because I've got the solid glass walls. And 3, because it's on stilts and raised up, I could actually sight it in a very effective way by having it above my railway lines. So if you think about the railway lines in between the continuous curve that we just did and the castle, there's a long strip there that's got no real use. So I could actually turn this into quite a deep facade building that's also in this modern architecture. So it can be hovering above a railway line, which will be very exciting, whilst also having it in a very elevated and visible position from all over the Lego room. So that's what I'm going to do. Now in order to fit all this stuff in, I figured I'd need a floor plan of at least half a regular base plate. So I've built a 32x16 floor plan from regular plates, and I've deliberately left a hole in it so I can incorporate a normal stairway so people can get in and out of the thing. Although it's a facade, I do want to give the impression that people can get in and out, because it will be quite deep. So you can see that that stairway will just form, when it's incorporated, another sort of 1x4 being the sort of top step in this setup. But if I attach it now, I won't be able to have it flat on the table. So I'll do that bit later. So essentially I want this to be a glass fronted box, as I said. So I think the first thing to do is to add a sort of one deep set of bricks in black, just to give us a bottom boundary. And then I'm going to add all my glass panels. Got quite a lot of these. And by putting one on top of the other, it gives me the height I need to be able to really peer in from everywhere in my city. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 width, 2 heights, so 10 of those. And then just to give it some strength at the top, I'm going to have some white tiles, because I also want the roof to be removable so I can access the insides. Right, so I think the next stage before I do the side walls is to get all this good stuff in, which will require me to sort of arrange it in a way that I can see everything sympathetically. So I'm going to do that. Actually, before I do that, I thought I would build some additional equipment. And the first of which is this, which is kind of a small dumbbell rack. Now, it's quite a simple construction. It's just 1x4s, plates, tiles and modified plates separated by grey 1x1 plates or grabbers. And they've got all sorts of different wheels on them, basically. So these are trolley wheels at the bottom, or skateboard wheels. These are the old type of skateboard wheels in white, modern skateboard wheels in purple, and old skateboard wheels in black. So just by having 4 different sort of variations of each of those just implies that we've got all sorts of different training weights. So that can be against one wall. And in exactly the same vein, I've got 2 large dumbbells made up in a very similar way, and these are just bar pieces with 2x2 round plates with those sort of curved shoe pieces on the end, and one's just got more round plates than the other, so it represents a heavier weight. So quite simple but very effective. So we've got 2 dumbbell weights. I think that's going to be front heavy, so it'll be all right when it's attached. Then I've got a simple box with some training balls in. I've got a very large green ball, which was the sort of ammunition for a weapon of some Ultra Agent set, Toxic Eater's Toxic Meltdown or something like that. And this is a basketball, obviously, but it can just be one of those sort of orange medicine balls, I think is the correct term for those. So that can just be another bit of occasional furniture. And then all gyms have TVs on. So I've got a nice TV here. Breaking news, City Hall collapsed. I hope not. But nonetheless, that's what the news is reporting. So I can have that on one of the walls. And I've got a second one of those, which I will have to move the sticker on because it's at a very obscure angle using my patented hot tea technique. So then I can have 2 matching TVs on opposing walls. Awesome. Right, so to move that sticker, I'm just heating the piece on the side of my hot tea. And then I can, with my knife, get under the edge of the sticker. Because it's all been heated, it very easily peels off. Then I can address any dirt that's on the tile using a sunglasses cloth. And I'm just balancing the sticker on the end of my finger for now. So that's the tile sorted. I can look at the back of the sticker, and it's got some carpet fibres and muck, so I can use the side of my knife just to scrape those off if I'm bothered. It's quite easy, so they've come off very easily. I'm not pushing hard. I'm not trying to cut my finger, obviously, and I'm not trying to wipe off the stickiness. I'm just wiping off the fluff that's on the stickiness. Right. So it wasn't so bad. So you can see that's got much reduced fluff on it now. And then I can reapply the sticker in a straight, centralized position. Give that another rub with the sunglasses cloth. And now I've got 2 straight TV sets. Great. Right, I've managed to squeeze it all in, and it wasn't easy. So along the front, I've got the rowing machine, running machine, running machine, and cycling machine. And then the lady on her mat with the balls. And then in the back corner, I've got all the racks for the different weights, because I've had to leave space for a wall on each side, obviously. Then I've got the weightlifter, cardio carry, pulling her weights, and then a gap for the stairs. Just coming apart slightly as it stands. And then in the corner, the boxing or kickboxing girl with her punch bag. So it's all looking very busy, very colourful, and very good fun, if you ask me. I like it. So the last thing I'm going to add is a water cooler. So here's obviously a stack of cups, which is just a white cone with a couple of 1x1 round plates on top of a 1x3, and then a jumper plate with a 1x2 Technic brick, and that clips onto the jumper plate underneath and also holds this, which is a sort of half full bottle of water. And you see that's made up of a trans blue and then clear piece and then a clear shoe on the top. So that can go back on there, and then we've just got a button and a tap. So I thought that could go sort of, say, there at the top of the stairs, because there's a gap there, and then people would come up the stairs and come in here. And it's a bit less easy to fall down if we've got a drinks machine there. So I think that looks very interesting as well. Good. Right, so I haven't put the TVs in. I think I'll put those on the side walls so we can kind of have one there and one there. And I won't do glass on the sides as well because it's, well, I haven't got any more of these panels for a start, but it will just be a bit too greenhousey then. And I've just realised I've built this one too near the edge because I need the wall to go there, so I'll have to move that all back by one stud as well. But yeah. So I think I'll do the side walls first, or next rather, before worrying about the stilts and the stairs. Okay, so that's moved. And you may have noticed that this is made of white, which I'm going to use for the walls. And I've placed it deliberately very centrally because I think I'm going to incorporate it into a pillar to help hold up the roof. So with that in mind, I've just got a few more white bricks, including a clock, which is good when you're in the gym, so you know when you can go home. And I'll just put that like that. And then it's a good another structure. Then as for the walls, I've just continued the black band and a load of 1x16 white bricks that I've been getting on all those brick hauls with police stickers on. That's how you get them cheap, buy the ones that are parts of police helicopters and then take off the stickers. And one of them's got a 1x4 modified brick on, so I can add my TV. So if we put that onto the far side. Now the building is open backed, as you can tell, but that's the side that's going to be against the wall. So it either counts as a facade, or maybe my wall in my Lego room is actually the back wall of the gym. But it could be that this is a bigger complex, maybe connected to a hotel or something like that. Then I've got the exact same thing for the other side with the TV in exactly the same place, but mirrored. Except for this time, I've got a couple more modified bricks on the other side, so I can add a big advertising hoarding as well on the outside of the building, because that's going to be quite a big plain wall otherwise. So we've got one big plain wall that will be facing away from the castle, which is this one. And we've got a big plain wall that will be facing the castle. So it's going to be nearer there. So there's less angles that you're going to be able to see this great big wall from, I think, than this one. I mean, it might be that I put adverts on both in due course, I don't know. But I think this one's going to be quite a large, unused face. So I definitely want to do something interesting with that. So I've made a advert, and what I've used is my coffee chain logo, which is the logo of all my coffee shops. There will be, I think, 5 I've bought, which are part of set 60097. So I had one spare sticker, which I've put on this. It was actually a tiny bit damaged, you can see there. I got it in a brick haul, but I thought waste not, want not. I'll use the slightly damaged one in a place where you'll see it least. And you can see I've made a nice board with a brown edge on a black backing with a little plinth. So what could that be for? Well, I thought, who better as a character to advertise the coffee chain than the Series 11 gingerbread man. And he's got a plate of cookies and little cakes and so on a little tray. And I thought that he would be a 3D advert for the coffee chain, who are in direct competition with Donut Fancy, my donut shop, obviously. Very good. So I thought, get this right. I don't know, something like that, do you think? It's kind of central on there, isn't it? Clip it on the top one and the bottom one. And I thought when that was mounted on stilts, that would be very visible for all the world to see. I don't think the train passengers will be able to see it because it will be directly above them, because I think the train line is going to go right underneath about here, and then the second rail line will be sort of in front of it a little, but still underneath. Good. Right, so there is our glass box, and you can see the TVs on the inside. I think it's looking really good. So now all we need to do now is a roof, a very basic roof, which I'm just going to use 16 by 16 plates essentially. So one there. Oh, clipping on the side. It's not clipping on. There we go. And the other on this side. So they're only resting on that back pillar there, but it's enough of a connection. So I think I need to decorate this roof because it's very plain. So I think I'm going to put an air conditioning unit on here because it will need to be nice and cool inside the gym. But I think you'll agree we can see that very clearly, and all the action going on and the hard work burning off those calories from Christmas. So yeah, I really like it. The roof connects to two jumper plates on these corners and two 1x2 plates here. It doesn't connect to this one just because I don't think it really needs it. But the aircon unit I've come up with is just basically a box with a pipe coming out and then a pipe coming out somewhere different on the other side. Is that connecting? There we go. So you can see that's just quite a simple setup, but a bit of interest on the roof. Now I've got a lot more space here, so what I thought I would do is write something on the roof, and what I thought I'd write is the name of the gym. And I was trying to think of a name of a gym, because it's always called something like Innovate or Quest or something weird like that, something macho. But I thought a better name would be Sweat, because not only do you sweat at a gym, but it comes from an Amy Schumer sketch where she goes to a hotel and she asks what the gym is, and they say, oh, well, we call it Sweat. And they're very sanctimonious about it. And she says, well, if that's the case, can you also tell me where poop is, please? Because I need to do that as well. So it's quite a funny name. So I like Sweat as the name of a gym. But I thought I'd go one stage further, make it sound even more modern and funky, and call it at Sweat, i.e. an at sign and then sweat. So I'm going to try and write that on the roof, big and bold, in tiles. Ho ho ho, looking good. Look at that. Now that does look like a funky gym, doesn't it? At Sweat. Brilliant. Just make sure I've spelt it right. Yep, that's good. So there we go. Now, if that doesn't look like a funky modern gym, I don't know what does. So now I just need to get that mounted on some really tall legs so it can be over the train line, making best use of space and very visible from all angles. I'm already really happy with this. I've taken out the dumbbell and the two balls because they would roll out at this stage. And you can see I've mounted the stairs on now. So they're sticking out the bottom. I've only got a 4 width in between the wall and the first train line to work with. So it's only just wide enough for the stairway. But you can see that is now firmly attached. And is sort of seamless with the floor above. So I need to extend that yet further with a second flight. And then I need to start putting some columns on here. So I'm going to have these 13 high. So I'm going to use 2 of the 1x2x5s, and then there's 3 normal 1x2 bricks in the middle. So I'm going to have, what shall I have that way? 2 columns on the front, and then 3 columns on the back, I think. So I have 1 at this side, 1 in the middle, which I'm going to have to do a bit of tweaking for because we've got a slightly different height there, and then a third one which I want to link and integrate with the bottom step. So in the end of it, we'll have something like that. Now this step isn't quite long enough either, so I'm going to have to add one more step on the bottom, integrate a pillar with there, and integrate a pillar with there, and then I think it'll be sturdy enough. So I've done that now. This one's not entirely central. I don't think that really matters. And this one is incorporated with the bottom step, which looks a little ugly with this white piece here. But you won't notice when it's up and against the wall because this is the back that we're looking at. But there you can see it is on stilts. So we're going to have one train line going directly under and one going sort of under and to the front. So it might be we need to move these. In fact, we almost certainly will need to move these slightly in so they miss the second train line, because I think that's going to be actually where the second train runs. So there you can see the stilted section. So let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, then 8 of train, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so we're going to need to put these in 2 studs, otherwise they're going to smash into the inner train, which is the passenger train. We don't want that. Great, so there's the stilted section. Right, well I know how safety conscious you lot are. Every time I do a stairway without a handrail or a drop without a barrier, I get comments. So I'm going to use a 17 long piece of hose. Can't remember where I got it, some Spider-Man bridge I think. And some grabber pieces attached to 1x1 modified tiles with the clip on, and hopefully 3 of these will grab on to the hose piece. That is very tricky to do. And be a banister like that. Can't really move this too much because it's quite fragile at the moment on these pillars because it's not attached at the bottom via a base plate. But you can see that handrail goes all the way from the top to the bottom and keeps the people who'll be entering and exiting the gym from the train, or will be hurtling right next to these stairs. Excellent. So there is the complete funky gym called At Sweat, with its great blue tiled sign, air conditioning unit, all the lovely gym equipment we made last time, including some racks for small and large weights, a couple of TVs, a container for some balls I haven't yet put back in, also a nice drinks dispenser, then the whole thing on stilts with a ladder going from the hole in the floor all the way down to here with a handrail for those that are safety conscious. And the only thing that really remains is for us to put this over the railway tracks in the Lego room. Oh, and not forgetting our really fun coffee chain gingerbread man advert with tray of cakes. Now this is the area in the Lego room that I'm thinking of putting At Sweat, the gym. but obviously I don't want it too close to Major Oak Hill, where I've got this lovely eagle flying and so on, so I want a bit of a gap there. I can't have it too near the works because that might look a bit odd, especially with the bottom of the steps coming from the gym itself. But more importantly, the corners with the two trains on, and I don't want them when they're coming around these corners for the corner of the train to hit the corner of one of those stilts, because then the whole thing will come tumbling down. So I'm pretty much thinking of having it aligned with this base plate, which will be from about here to about here. Let's see if that works. It's attached to the base plates now, and I've just attached it 4 studs to the left as we look at it from where I suggested, just so it's a little bit further away from the corners, so the trains had a chance to straighten up before they're going through what is quite a small tolerance between the pillars and the trains. I've also turned these front 2 columns so they go left to right, like the back ones, rather than sort of front to back as we did have them, because it doesn't really affect the building, and it gives us a little bit more clearance for this long nose of this passenger train when it goes around the corner. Before, it was pretty much touching, and at high speed these trains do sort of tend to tilt out a tiny bit, and even if it was just clipping it the smallest amount, I think after a while the building would come tumbling down, so we want to avoid that. So this one gets past quite easily now, and this one is very tight, as you can possibly see, but this distance is only as tight as all the tunnels that go underneath Major Oak Hill and the castle, so even though it looks perhaps a lot tighter, it is equally as tight. Right, I think we just want to add a few more details to the underneath and outside area. So for the outside, I've added a few of these fence pieces just at the bottom of the stairs, so when people come down they sort of go into the wall off the bit of the city that's covered by the Lego room. I also thought I'd add an old guy in a tracksuit with a nice smile who's obviously recently been to the gym, and that'll accentuate the stairs if I've got somebody coming down them. Maybe I'll do it one lower just so I can see him a bit more readily. So he's going to have a train charging towards him. Cargo train there, but I'm sure he'll be able to withstand that. Then I was thinking, if you remember back to a brick haul that was recent, I got these 2 lovely gate pieces, and I thought if I just made a sort of very small sections of wall with some sort of decorative elements on the top, I could almost fill in this gap between the left pair of pillars, and it would be just sort of a hint of something beyond, something interesting. I was going to do this in between 2 sort of facade buildings, but in a way this is the same, and don't know what it will look like, haven't done it yet. So what do we think of that? I think that's quite good. Sort of hints that there's something interesting beyond, doesn't it? Yeah, I think I'll leave that there for now, at least. And then I also thought in any gaps I might add some of the old style Lego trees, just because they're the right size really, because I really need something to sort of fill up this gap. So fit one there, I don't know if I can fit a second one in or not. Yeah, if they're sort of touching. Yeah, so maybe that's a garden beyond or some other part of the hotel complex that At Sweat is linked to. Yeah, I think I like that. And I've had to move the bunny just a little bit. I'll just check the train can still get through. Yep, it fits. And there we have it. Perfect. Good clearance with the trains. And although the bits that are underneath are a bit isolated at the moment, I'm sure we will have another facade in this space in due course, and over here, and then it'll be more continuous. Great. I really like the writing on the top in the air conditioning unit, and you can still see all of the people inside and all the activity they're up to. Great. Well, I'm really happy with how the gym has turned out. At Sweat looks really swanky, it looks really visible. I can see right in, I don't know if the camera's doing it justice with the lighting I've got set up, but I can see all the way to the back and see what everyone's doing in real life. I also like the fact that I can see the writing on the roof from absolutely everywhere, and even the advertisement for the coffee chain, which is on this side, is also very good. I'm aware that at the moment we've got a great big gap in the top here and over here on the left, but as I said before, this will get filled with facades in due course, and the stuff that I've put underneath looks a bit busy when it stops dead either side, and maybe that will evolve and change as we go forward, but for now I think it'll do. So it is a bit sort of stop, start, stop, but I think its central position was important to sort of define it, because probably the next facade going here will be very flat and therefore won't be as pronounced and won't get in the way of this eagle and so on, and probably the same for the other side as well. And here's a quick view from the other side, just so you can see the coffee chain 3D sign. I've also given the gingerbread man the Dunk Me mug that he comes with, because I thought that would add to it even more. I'm really liking that against the white background. It really sort of stands out and adds a lot of interest from this direction. Very good. So to recap what we've done, we've taken a load of gym equipment, we've added to it with some drinks machines and weights racks and so on, and we've put them all in an ultra-modern glass box on stilts, and we've added an air conditioning unit to the roof and a written sign. Also, we've added that advertisement to the right-hand side wall as we look at it, and some steps coming down with the odd bit of scenery underneath to make it look more integrated with the rest of the city. And I think the outcome has been quite a success. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. I do really like hearing from you and hearing what you have to say. You do come up with a lot of good ideas and improvements for my city, which I'm very happy to receive. Also, just the general level of encouragement is really good because it keeps me going. Now, you'll be glad to hear that the list of videos for the new year is incredibly long, which is a good thing for it to be. But I can't quite decide what I'm going to do next. I was thinking on one hand of doing a lot more carriages for my trains. On the other hand, I was thinking of filling up this shop space over here, which almost is begging to be done, just to finish off that parade, and then we can get the tiling done around the subway entrance around here as well. But I'm also keen to get the next segment of raised base plates done, so we can get on with integrating the far side of the railway track, which is a bit isolated at the moment, with the rest of the city. Then again, there's holes to fill in the bit that we have done, so the list is endless. I'm going to have to think about what to do first. But if you've got a strong opinion, do let me know. So, until next time, see you!